when the doc or the practitioner is on it. It's uncomfortable. In fact, it's extremely uncomfortable, wouldn't you say? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's really, I don't even have to use much pressure.
I think it's an 11.
An 11, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so now we're gonna scan her IT band, because a really tight IT band, tight hip flexors, tight psoas is gonna aggravate a bursitis. And we've already released her psoas muscle. So now we're gonna check for any inflammation or soft tissue damage on her IT band before my battery dies. All right, we'll go ahead and dose it. It looks like there's a few spots here on the IT band that are inflamed. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a Graston technique as well. And because I'm lasering her leg, it's going to reduce the inflammation and also limit the marks on her leg. You have a swimsuit modeling thing, or New York Swim Week? Okay. What's that? I'm a swimmer. I don't even know what that is.
It's a bikini fashion show.
Oh, okay.
It's like
yeah, nobody wants to see me in a bikini. That's why I don't know about it. I've, believe it or not, swam in the Hudson River.
No way.
2.4 miles.
How did that feel?
Well, it was the fastest 2.4 mile swim I have ever done, because A, I wanted to get out of that dirty, filthy water. And they had soap and showers afterwards when you get out, soap yourself off. So I took a minute to soap myself off, but I had my whole body covered with a wetsuit and everything. But it was a fast swim because of the currents in the Hudson. But I did it for the Ironman in 2012. So otherwise, I would not have normally been swimming 2.4 miles in the Hudson, folks. It's not something I do regularly, and it's not something I recommend either. Those currents are nasty, really bad. Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna come out of that water. Yeah. So it's dosing here. It's been about almost a minute and a half here. Found 2 spots on her IT band. And I think what we're gonna have her do is just test the hip. Have you stand up, test it before we do the Graston technique. Now, you've also done physical therapy, you said, so you've done some rehab strengthening, your glutes, or?
Yeah, mostly like taking the focus out of the quads and trying to really focus in on using hamstring to glute strength. Okay. But that was a little while back, so kind of fell out of it. Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to get her back on that, call it the glute hamstring bandwagon again, because a lot of people are more dominant on the front of their thighs, the quads and the hip flexors. If you're someone that sits all day for work, you have tight quads, tight hip flexors. She doesn't do that, but she's definitely weaker in the hamstring glute area compared to the quad region or the front of the thigh. So many of you have that imbalance too. It's pretty common. So one of the best ways to tell whether or not you have a weak hamstring, or if you're not sure and you think maybe I have a weak thigh, the front of the leg. So one of the best ways to tell that is if you have knee pain, and the knee pain is worse when you go downstairs, it's most likely that you do have a weak quad or front of your thigh. If you have knee pain that increases when you go upstairs, it's oftentimes that shows that you have a weakness in the back of your thigh or your hamstring muscle. So that's a little nugget there that you can take with you. And you said that you had pain going upstairs, correct? In your hip, not so much in her knee, but her hip. So we already know that she has a weak hamstring, but that's a good indicator. So I'm gonna have you button up in the front and then stand up. Okay. And do what you would normally do to irritate it.
I was doing like lunges.
How's that feel right now?
That feels pretty good.
Okay.
In the stretch where I noticed it the most, because I was feeling tight, and I thought that the tightness was like, oh, I needed to stretch. So like the typical stretch like that I would do to like really work into that hip flexor, and it was like not good. Okay, so that tells me that's a psoas stretch. That tells me it's probably also her psoas involved, which crosses the hip joint. The psoas is an interesting muscle. It's a forward and lateral trunk flexor and a hip flexor. Are you still feeling it? It's pretty good. It feels all right.
Okay,
Definitely feel a difference from
Okay.
earlier.
Okay, lay on your back. We're going to release that psoas a little bit more. The psoas muscle, there's really no other way to do it but to get to it through the stomach. So if somebody's ever telling you, any doctor, physical therapist telling you they're releasing your psoas and they're doing it from the back, or they're wrong. Their hand has to be right here in between your front of your pelvis and the belly button, right in the middle. And you'll know when the doc or the practitioner is on it. It's uncomfortable. In fact, it's extremely uncomfortable, wouldn't you say? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's really, I don't even have to use much pressure.
I think it's an 11.
An 11, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And bend this leg, that makes it a little bit easier. But what I'm worried about for her is if she does the psoas stretches that hip joint too much, she can irritate a torn labrum. So I want you to avoid stretching your psoas for now. If you're going to stretch your psoas, I want you to do it with a lacrosse ball on the floor.
Okay.
Or they have a device that I reviewed called the Pso-Right. Have you heard of that?
Is it the big, like, red?
It's like got a hook, or I think there's one called the hook or something, and it's like this hook, and you just stick it in. Okay, now we're going to... Actually, we're going to use a different Graston tool here. So Graston's a great technique, soft tissue technique, that helps to promote ecchymosis, more blood flow to the area. It also breaks up the interstitial tissues, gets them gliding a little better, breaks up the viscosity in there. Yeah, and you can feel the crunches are the adhesions. And that, see how it's better right there? See the difference? You guys can't see it. It's something you feel, right? So these stainless steel tools are meant to not only enhance treatments, but enhance the doctor's hands. So I can actually feel the vibrations right there through the device. Whereas if I were to use any other material to do this, like a stone, I wouldn't feel that. And that's why gua sha is with stones, this is with stainless steel tools, because it enhances the hands of the practitioner. I could feel right in there. And that's kind of where it lit up, the laser beeped right up even in there too, right there. That's bad too. So you could see how that laser is spot on, how it picks those spots right out. So we're going to go light with her. It's her first Graston treatment, and she's got a swimsuit, modeling gig, and they're definitely not going to appreciate me doing this before that. I guess there's always makeup.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can already feel the adhesions breaking up a little bit.
Is that similar to, like, scar tissue?
Similar, yep. Yeah, very similar. So this is the layer that goes above the muscle. There's interstitial tissue above the muscle, and the muscle's supposed to glide with that tissue. The skin's supposed to glide over it. So this is going to help that happen easier. It's a little minty, okay? All right, you're all set? All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to comment below. Thanks. Thank you guys so much. If you got anything from this video, or even if you just like this view of the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building, give me a like and don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you guys.